All right, you guys. What you have before you today is Thomas Rose's first place winning YCS Dusseldorf 48 card Danger Orcust crazy wombo combo deck. This is the deck that won YCS Dusseldorf. Yeah, you guys. I don't even know where to begin with this event, or should I say events, because there were two YCSs. They apparently capped capacity, still had tons of players that wanted to play, so they made a second YCS. Now, I know the second YCS was won by Sky Strikers. I'm not going to cover it. I'm not going to tell you why Sky Strikers won. We've talked about Sky Strikers enough, I think, on this channel. We know why Sky Strikers win events. They're consistent. They do what they need to do. Widow Anchor is a hell of a card. Engaging multiple times in a turn is a hell of a way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And yeah, I mean, the deck is still good, and if they added any new text and stuff, like in the side or in the main, you know, it probably showed true. It was a smaller event, but it definitely had good players in it, but I really want to focus on this deck for the fact that I don't think any of us saw this coming. I think we all thought Solomon Great was going to win, and to be honest, it should have. You all saw the mistakes that were unfortunately made in the finals. But, you know, when you're under that type of pressure, you know, a lot of us don't know what that's like. So we cannot be pointing fingers. And that's the first thing I'm going to say is I would never point fingers at someone who's in the finals of a YCS, because the day I get to the finals of a YCS, I mean, hell have probably froze over a couple times. But, you know, I'm just being honest. So you know, the pressure gets to you and, you know, mistakes are made. But regardless of that, we're here to talk about why Danger Orcust, of all decks, won YCS Dusseldorf. And I know you guys will be like, we'll talk about Sky Strikers. Like I just said, there's no reason to. We know why Sky Strikers win. My only thing is, I really wish the two champions would have gotten to play each other for, like, the real trophy. Like, to play each other for, like, the real prestige win. Like, the winner of that match is the winner of the whole YCS. This having two champions thing is kind of weird to me. I don't really know what to say about it, so I'm not going to really say anything about it. We're just going to focus on Thomas Rose's deck. So, like we always do on this, we're going to go through the main deck, the side, the extra, and then we're going to talk about why this deck won. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, he is playing Danger Orcust, so he's playing all these different cards to do stuff. So he's playing one copy of the World Wand. The rest of the Orcust cards we'll go through as we go through. He's got the 3 Kaijus, the 3 Dark Kaijus. The big ones are important for Boral Sword, because when you Boral Sword them, the Boral Sword will gain half of the attack if you Kaiju and Boral Sword into this. So it'll go to 44. That's relevant. You know, they end up taking all the damage. So very, very strong. This is just really good. Good against strikers. Like, this deck can go first or second. Going second, it has the Kaijus. It has a lot of the cards you see. Radiant's just very strong. It also being a dark is always important for when you're linking or doing stuff like that, depending if it comes up. 3 Pankatops is one of the best cards. It's in mostly every deck. If it's not in the main, it's in the side deck. This card is just amazing. Such a good card, such a good disruptor. Very good against one of the win conditions of this deck, which is the rank up card, because you have priority to pop the target. So very, very strong. He played only 2 copies of Phantomaze, but this card is the nuts. What can I say? I always hype this card up. This card is amazing, especially in a going second deck. So amazing. Of course, 3 Danger Nessie, because, you know, every deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Plays Dangers now, except Sky Strikers and Altergeist, and I guess Subterrors. He's got 2 copies of the Orcust Nightmare, 3 copies of the Orcust Harp, 1 copy of Chupacabra is another Danger, 2 Sky Blasters. You guys know how insane this card is. This card is just, you know, this card plus a Danger is like any Link 4. Now this is where it got spicy. He played 3 copies of Connector, and of course you'll see down below he is playing the Dolphin. This card is nuts. This card is able to, you know, just create a Link 2. It's able to play through a hand trap, rip a hand trap out of the opponent's hand, and I think that's really, really strong. We've got the 3 Danger Snake, and we have, of course, the Orcust, what is it, the Symbol Skeleton. This card basically, what is it, lets you target a monster in your graveyard, special summon it, so it's like a monster reborn. Phantom Knights, he also played Phantom Knights in it as well. He played 2 copies of Ancient Cloak, the Dolphin I already mentioned to go with the Connector, the 3 Jackalope, because we're always playing all the Dangers, the 2 Silent Boots for the rest of the Phantom Knight monsters, and for more hand traps, he played 2 copies of Ash Blossom, because this card is really important against Solomon Great. It was the most represented deck. I believe it was 44% in Top Cut, so that should tell you everything you need to know. mill deck was insane. What set his deck apart, that was it for the monsters, what set his deck apart from the majority of the decks is he was main decking Orchestrated Return. This card says, send one Orcust or World Legacy monster from your hand or face of the field to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. So it is basically a, like, damn near like a Destiny draw kind of, you know, you get rid of a card, draw 2 cards, pretty good. I think this card is very, very cool, and I think it's what separated his deck from a lot of the other Orcust decks we've been seeing. 1 Rota to search all the warriors, and this was another really cool part of his deck. He did play the Sky Striker engine. It was very small. He only played the 3 engage and the 1 Hornet drones, and this was for the ability to get into a Link 2, which is what he needed to start his combo, so very, very strong. You've got, of course, the 1 win condition when going first, the rank up magic. You do the Azathoth combo with this. You guys already know, but you can't play under that. The 1 already mentioned Hornet drones because it works with the engages. And then he played this other card. This was the other card that separated his deck from a lot of the other Orcust decks, and it's Orchestrated Babel. It reads, you can activate the effects of Orcust monsters in your graveyard or of Link monsters you control with Orcust in their original names as quick effects. Yeah, quick effects. That's actually broken. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, add this card to your hand. So basically, you can just replay this card. That's ridiculous. So this was a very, very cool tech choice in the deck as well. And for his traps, they're just Phantom Knight cards, the 1 Brigadine, Shades Brigadine, you get the combo started, and the 2 Fog Blades because they're really good with Bardiche, and they're just really strong against negating your opponent's monster effects and from them for attacking. So that is the main deck, 48 cards. Extra deck, Azathoth, you already know, you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! The Time Thief Redoer, this card is nuts. The Nyarla to go with the Azathoth. You see Nyarla, you know Azathoth is coming. One of your win conditions, Boral Sword, going second, you just Boral Sword, kill them. It's like Ed's deck. 1 Trisbania for back row decks. 1 Summon Sork, it gets combos going. 1 Decode Talker. Decode Talker is extremely important. If you watch the live deck profile, which I will link down below, he'll talk about Decode Talker. Decode Talker solves a lot of problems. It actually makes it to where you don't lose to cards like Twin Twister and Prankatops because you can have Decode negate that effect because it targets a card, so you're able to set up your board with the Decode. It's easier to go into since it only takes 2+ effect monsters, and it basically protects your win condition, and then you can basically kill the opponent the next turn because you're going to have the monsters under Decode plus Decode. It'll be enough for game. 1 Unicorn, staple. 1 Bardiche, staples. Get your rank up spell. 1 Phoenix, staple. 1 of the orchestrated, what is it? The Galati? Yeah, Galati. Standard in the Orcust deck. It's the only Orcust Link they play. 1 Cerebus, 1 Space Insulator for your tokens, like the Skyblaster tokens and stuff. 1 Kagari to go with the Engage and the drones, and the 1 Nightmare Mermaid, which gets everything rolling. Side deck was 2 more Kaijus. The 2 more Kaijus were for, he said, basically for Sky Strikers. Just also like against Solomon Great and stuff. You know, if you Solomon Great the Link monster, it turns off their trap, so that's very strong. Against Striker, you guys already know it's like an auto win against them. A 3rd Ash Blossom because he was saying how prevalent Solomon Great is, and he was definitely correct, 44%. When we do the format analysis, you guys will see the infamous chart. This is where it was spicy. He side-decked Black Ship of Corn. When was the last time we saw Black Ship of Corn, you guys? This card is solely for time. It's basically, you know, you can make it, and you literally, you know, because you do run the rank 4s in the deck, you basically, that was another reason he ran the 1 copy of Chupacabra, since it is a 4. Also helps to make the Azathoth and Nyarla play. The thing with Black Ship of Corn is that you can just do this going second, and you just target phase of monster your opponent controls, and you just burn them for 1,000, and you win in time. That's really what it was for. And he played 3 Call by the Grave when going first, if he knew he was going first, because, you know, you just got to hit those hand traps, and it's how you win. Also has synergy against, Ray and anything really engraved. 3 Twisters, because it's basically like a going second deck. You just Twister, the back row decks, and, you win. Also good against, if you play any kind of mirror match, because you can stand by phase, you can hit him with the Twin Twister, really solid. 1 Midfield Breaker. This card is only at 1, obviously, so he playing this makes it to where they just can't target it, so it turns off a lot of hand traps, very strong. 1 Order, because it's an auto win against Sky Strikers and Spell Heavy decks. And 3 Reboot, because Reboot is game against most trap decks, especially Sub-Terrors and Alter guys. As long as they don't have a counter to it, you reboot them, and you kill them with Boral Sword, so that's kind of how it goes. Okay, this behemoth of a deck. Why did this deck win? First and foremost, this deck won because Thomas Rose is one of the best players, if not the best player in the UK. It's been proven time and time again. He is a Burning Abyss master. However, he switched to this deck, and it proves that he is not just a one-trick pony. He does have endless tops with BA, but he also has now another win. This man has won, I don't know how many events. I've lost track, honestly, but this man has won endless events, and he did it with another deck, showing that he's, again, not a one-trick pony. He can play any deck he wants, and he proves himself as a very skilled player. I think the pilot played a huge role in the success and being the winner. I also think that this deck won because, I mean, were we really expecting it? I think everyone was so focused on Solomon Greats, so focused still on Sky Strikers and Thunder Dragons. Like, we didn't consider this deck. We didn't think of a deck that was like going second and main deck so much hate for like every deck. Like, this main deck's a lot of hate, you guys. Like, look at this. Like, there's Kaijus, there's Prankatops, there's Phantasmes, there's Ashes, there's all these things that when it goes second, it just bodies you. Like, it just bodies you, especially if he opens a Phantasme on you when you're doing your combo and he just fixes his hand and he's got a 2400 body that negates targeting. I mean, that's so ridiculous. So I think the way this deck was built was very strong. I think it was just the surprise factor too. Now, I know Danger Orcust are a deck, but we have not seen a build like this at all. Like, this has changed a lot since Ed first introduced everybody to the deck. Now, the same concept is still there, but I feel like this build was definitely one that a lot of people were not prepared for, and I really, really like that. I think the surprise factor, again, like pretty much every event when a random deck or a rogue deck or a deck people weren't expecting wins, people just like, oh my god, really? You know, this happened? So yeah, I think another reason why this deck won. This deck does something that I feel the ideal deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Can do, and that is it can go first and it can go second. So this deck, obviously, you know, looks like it's built to go second, but at the same time, it can go first. Going first, it can set up combos to where you Azathoth your opponent on their turn. They can't play. Turn goes back to you. Guess what? You kill them. It can also go second. You can Kaiju or Prankatops or do whatever and kill them. Like, the deck is designed to basically Boral Sword Turbo, do a lot of things like that. I mean, you can win even without the Boral Sword, but there are so many things this deck can do going second, but it can also play going first. I think when a deck can do both of those things comfortably, it's the deck to play. I feel like there's no denying if a deck can go first or second and be successful, it's definitely a good deck. It's definitely one of the best decks of the format. And I would say probably the last reason why this deck did so well, I don't think people really knew 100% how to side against it. Like, yeah, you would think, oh, his deck's made to go second. How am I going to side deck against him? I'm going to make him go first. And guess what? He's going to Azathoth you. And then you know what that means? You don't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! All those cards you sided, they don't do anything. So, yeah, pretty crazy. I think overall this was an amazing meta call. He wasn't the only one piloting this. I know he said his teammate Ping, the one who got second with Trickstars, was playing a very similar deck, couple cards different, and that shows that, you know, these guys really know what they're doing. They picked a deck that people weren't really paying attention to. Everyone has been on Thunder Dragons, everyone has been on Solomon Greats. The loyal players have still been on like decks like Altergeist and Sky Strikers, but he chose to go with something that not enough people were paying attention to. If you look at Dinka Boy's deck, his deck is insane too. It's like a Dark Warrior deck as well, a 60 card deck, and you see people who just weren't respecting decks like that, and I feel that that's the reason why those decks were so successful. And again, you guys can say Thomas Rose and this deck won the finals because the Solomon Great guy messed up. Yeah, that could be one of the reasons. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. Like I said, I'm not going to, you know, ever undermine any player. Everyone makes mistakes. We make them all the time. No one is perfect, including you that's going to comment and say that. Yeah, you comment and say that, you know, that's going to be the response. We all make mistakes. This deck won because it was piloted by an amazing player. He even made mistakes in the finals. No one is perfect. But this deck did its job, and it's an amazing, amazing meta call, and I think this deck will definitely see more play going forward. I was not expecting it. I expected Solomon Great to win, and honestly, Solomon Great should have won. We've already talked about that. So we will definitely be having more Solomon Great discussions because we already know that the deck is in extremely high representation. I think overall this was amazing, though. I think the fact that they had 2 YCSs was nuts. I think the fact that this deck won the main event was crazy, and I'm hoping that, you know, like I said, I wish the 2 champions would have played just so we had 1 champion, but I mean, it is what it is. But overall, this was amazing. Congrats to Thomas Rose. Amazing player. Probably one of the best players in the game, if not the best player in the game right now with his continued success. And I can't wait to see what else he comes up with and what other crazy decks we'll see him killing people with, either going first or second. But overall, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below why you feel Danger Orcust won YCS Dusseldorf, and let me know your thoughts, any questions, any comments, and I'll definitely be getting back to you guys. And we'll be having a lot more content coming up with our format analysis and everything in the next couple of days. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.